And when you do assessments, there's a point at which a school gets to be too old, and we recommend replacement. And when we did the school at Christoval, you know, it came out borderline. Borderline means it's worth putting money into and preserving it. And there's some historical value to the school at Christoval that the community recognizes, because when the school board tried to go ahead and run a bond issue and build a new school, it failed. The community recognized that they had a beautiful little campus here in the middle of town with some history to it, that everybody had gone to school at one time or another, and they wanted to keep that. And you know, the math proved that, hey, it's still possible. It's borderline though. Well, of course, the 1901 portion, which used to be 2-story, now 1-story, thanks to a fire, is, I think, the most important and the most recognizable portion of the history from the outside. And so we're going to concentrate on that. And one thing we did in the master plan was, instead of putting 100 or 120 students in it every day, which is hard for anyone that's from 1901, we're going to make it an administration area, you know, where there'll be a dozen people in it every day and visitors, and a lot less used, given the age it is. And also that will, since students will not be in there, it'll cost less to renovate it. And by renovate, I mean we're going to preserve the historical character by doing that. And we have some examples on our website where we did a 1940s building where we used it for administration. And it works very nice, and we can make that work. And when you walk into the building, you'll recognize it as a school and not as an office. The next best deal is the gymnasium. Maybe not so much on the outside, but on the inside, it is a glorious piece of 1950s architecture. And you know, you pay a lot of money nowadays to recreate that. And that was another reason to go ahead and reuse that elementary school, because recreate it by building a new school to build a gym is like $4 million extra. And so it's an expensive little jewel, and it's not going to cost much to renovate it. All the requirements will have to be addressed. We have to bring the entire building up to code, and that's the building code. There's just numerous things that there are problems with. I mean, we'll start with the children's safety is first and foremost. And to do that, we're going to put in a fire sprinkler system. Some of the buildings are wood, and trying to build firewalls and stuff was too expensive, and we've got prices, and the fire sprinkler system would be the best way to do that. And most of the elementary school does not have a fire alarm system, which is just not good at all. So we're going to put in a fire alarm system. We're going to go ahead and address the ADA in the restrooms and stuff with new restrooms, and bring those up to code. The handicap code will have to be met. Lighting levels in some of the areas are not adequate. Of course, we address the plumbing, air conditioning. Those are some of the historic things they have, is the electrical, the plumbing, and the air conditioning, and they don't need to be historic. They need to be brought up to date, and we will address all those. You know, the schools is an important part of the community. And this school, this elementary school, has needed a lot of things for a long time. And that's where a lot of the cost is. It's just when they did the 1990 additions, you know, they didn't add in fire alarm for the whole school, which they should have done, or some things like that. So there's a lot of things to address. And we want it safe for our children. That's why the fire alarms and the fire sprinklers, because some of the buildings are built out of wood, and the 1901 building is wood. A lot of the 1950s building is wood. And so you want that to be safe, because if it catches on fire, it's not going to be good. And you don't want to wait for that to happen. You can't wait for that to happen, and it should be addressed immediately. And I just want to stress that to anybody that's thinking about, okay, is this worth the money? It's worth every penny. You don't want to ever lose a child, you know. And I have grandchildren now, and I would trade my life for any of them. And let's make this a safe place as well as a nice place for the community, and I think they will realize the benefit.